Hello, this is Forrest Price with your Monday Moments. Today's topic will be on Black History Month. I know last week I said might go back to my subject on greed, which I wasn't too proud of the video. I was rushed, and I'm not going to cover it today. I might in the future because it is a subject that's worth covering. Today I'm going to show two videos, not because I don't want to talk, but because I know the videos will say more than I could ever do. And again, I try not to be as opinionated as I am, but sometimes it will come out, and I might do a commentary or not, but I doubt it. I'm going to let it speak for itself. So here is the first one.
African American history dates back to the colonial period, when Africans were brought to the colonies as slaves. Yet black history was largely ignored by historians and the general public until the 20th century. At the forefront of the push to bring black history into public consciousness was a scholar and son of former slaves, Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Born in Virginia in 1875, Carter Woodson escaped poverty through education, ultimately receiving a doctorate from Harvard University in 1912. Throughout his studies, Woodson had noticed that the role of African Americans in American history was either misrepresented or missing altogether from the history books. Determined to encourage black studies and tell the stories of his people, he founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life in 1915. A year later, he began publishing the Journal of Negro History, now known as the Journal of African American History. Page by page, African Americans wrote themselves back into the history books. Encouraged by a swell of support, Woodson organized the first annual Negro History Week in 1926 for the second week of February, to coincide with the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. The civil rights movement of the 1960s reflected the growing pride and cultural identity among the black community. By the nation's bicentennial in 1976, African Americans were embracing their heritage and reminding America that black was beautiful. 26 years after Carter Woodson's death, Negro History Week became Black History Month as part of the bicentennial celebration. Dr. Carter Woodson left an indelible mark. His work ensured the long and rich histories of African Americans would never be forgotten. Black History Month continues his legacy. We honor the people and their achievements in celebration of the African American experience.
All right, I'm back. I hope. Oops, let me shut it. Oh, don't want to prop Bank of America, even though I bank with them. But back to the brief video we saw. So to everyone who disputes Black History Month, oh, why is it on the shortest month? It was picked for those birthdays to celebrate in the month of February, so it had nothing to do with that. So all you conspiracy theories, had to correlate with the birthdays that happened that month. The only other thing that really grasps me how they keep going back between calling us black and African American. Me personally, I call myself black. I refer to myself as a black person. When you denote a country unto your ethnicity, I mean, if you're a Mexican American, Jewish American, Italian American, Polish American, you came here by choice. The majority of black people are here by circumstance. And we do not assimilate with Africanism because we've never been to Africa, nor will most of us ever go there. So we don't assimilate with their culture because all we see is what we are shown about Africans. We don't associate with it. And we also don't associate, well, a lot of us do associate with American society but we still differ from it. So I do not denote myself as African American. I am a black person, but you can denote yourself however you chose. So those are 2 points I got from that video. I'm gonna go to the next one, which is a little longer one, but well worth it if I can find it real quick. And I found it, and here we go.
Class, right, can we settle down? Rose, turn around, please. We've got a lot to get through today. Okay, so carrying on from our lesson last week, we were looking at the key divisions in the early stages of the civil rights movement and the general impact across the board. Sam, come on. Sit up straight. Right, stop slouching. This is the perfect opportunity for you to engage, so make the most of it.
But we learn the same stuff every year for Black History Month. Every single October we learn the same things, either apartheid, slavery, or the civil rights. How many of you guys have actually learned something new these last years? See? That's what I mean.
Sam, this is our history, come on, man.
No, seriously. Do you guys know anything about Ralph Bunche? The first black person to win a Nobel Prize? Or that the richest person ever lived was a black man named King Musa I of Mali? What about Ella Baker? What about Ella Baker? One of the most influential women of the civil rights movement. This is why I can't take Black History Month seriously, man.
But Samuel, the curriculum is designed to help you think about Black history critically.
Actually, miss, it's designed to teach us what to think, not how to think. For example, when that light switched, you taught us it was Thomas Edison who made that happen, when ironically it was actually a darker man who made that light flick, Lewis Latimer to be precise. Quite nice when you're talking about Mr. Hamilton and his racing car, but red light stop. We're always taught that Martin Luther King had a dream, man. But those dreams can't be achieved because our brains are in chains, our minds are enslaved, so we won't get our redemption. Morgan, free, man. Will we ever be free, man? And leave this state of imprisonment? And take that walk of free, damn it, green man from a traffic light invented by the same man who made gas masks to protect our organs. Another free man named Garrett Morgan. But I bet you never knew that. We need to open our minds. But how can we be taught to see if the blind lead the blind? The first person to develop significant eye surgery was a black woman named Dr. Patricia E. Barth. Now on that note, there's a question I must ask. If this is a great opportunity to learn and be engaged about our past, why are we not actually being taught about our past? Transatlantic slavery where we're taught Black history starts, but is it really? There seems to be a lot you haven't told us. And you shut down and hold back on the bold ones who stand against the way you're trying to mold us. Consistent enemies of progress. You're surprised because I know things you don't expect me to know yet. And when I tell you you're wrong for telling me about me, you call it a riot while I call it a protest. The Broadwater Farm riots. The media exacerbate and make it seem like it's a bunch of delinquent youths on the streets, when really the first cause and trigger was death at the hands of the police. We cease to know information and the truth. And that's simply because you withhold information from the youth. Maybe one day we'll be satisfied with how our knowledge of history equates. Well, I'm sure like me, you're waiting for the teacher to fill in that space. So do so then. No answer. Well, maybe I can help and just throw out there some names. Mary Seacole, a Crimean war nurse. Mary Prince, a black female author. To be precise, she was the first. Bernie Grant, influential local activist and respected MP. Trevor McDonald, one of the first black ITN journalists to hit the TV screen. Jamal Edwards and SBTV. And when Fuse ODG brought the Azonto dance to the UK, and my foot swayed to the left and to the right like the wipers of a car's windscreen. And DJ Abrante brought Afro beats to the streets. See, it's funny when we think of our childhood memories. A man who was actually funny, Lenny Henry. Many others, and the list continues. Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie, Bob Marley, Ignatius Sancho, Tupac, Fela Kuti, Muhammad Ali, Maya Angelou, R.I.P., Kwame Nkrumah, the first Ghanaian president who retained independence from England, the Windrush ship which brought Caribbeans to Britain. So much to learn in just 1 month. A tip of the iceberg, a tiny grace. And what was the first black Roman emperor's name? Years passed and we're still caught up in the same civil rights age, which isn't bad if you learn something new, but we don't. And we're not being taught enough about our culture, so there's no one else to blame but you. And if not you, then who? Questions, questions, questions. If you're not teaching us these things, then I'm inclined to believe it's because you don't know. No. You're the teacher. Your job is to teach, so you must know. And if you do, that must mean you don't want us to know, but that's low. If the information is accessible for our knowledge of our culture to grow, then why on earth wouldn't you want to let us know? Why are you focused so heavily on the influential but very few men and women who made things happen for us? Why are my people being highlighted for a predominantly negative past? Why do I know the things that you don't and I'm not the teacher, you are? Why are you focused on our negative past but not on our bright future? Why are you not abreast with the great young things that people are doing in this world? Why are young people's trademarks in stereotypes, gang culture, and young pregnant girls? Why are the young people not being given the time of day? And his name was Septimus Severus, by the way. I'm sure as a student, the code of conduct has been breached. So I'll stop here and let you do your job. So teach.
That was deep. This is Forrest Price. Where do I even begin with that? It was the same with me in school. The same old, same old. And unfortunately, we do it in our churches. The same old, same old. So that's why a lot of my speeches or my videos, I base it on stuff that we don't generally know. And I will always continue to do that. So I'm going to leave with Bible verses for the day. Galatians 3:28. There's neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Deuteronomy 24:7. If someone is caught kidnapping a fellow Israelite and treating or selling them as a slave, the kidnapper must die. You must purge the evil from among you. Leviticus 25:43. You are not to rule over them with harshness. You are to fear your God. Well, I hope everyone enjoy your week, and I hope you enjoyed the videos I shared. So have a great week. I will see you all next week.